Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Michael, thank you for coming in. And uh, now, normally, when I set up my live stream, um, I open the chat up about an hour or so in advance. It's the way I set up the software. And rarely does anybody come in to comment. And as I sat down to do my stream, I had a set of interesting comments made on my chat. And what I'm doing, I'm in the process of bringing them into the room. This happens, I had to edit this in a hurry in order to get this in here. So if you'll bear with me. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving a good New Year's and didn't get too uh, uh, intoxicated or what have you. Thank you. So, anyway, I'm getting my Pepsi set up here. And I'm getting this material that I'm going to be bringing in here brought into the room. First, I got to download it. But I had a conversation last night with Punisher. Do you have a problem with the English language? I told you that you are banned from this group. Now, how did you get around my ban? This individual right here made threats against me in the room. And I told her that she was banned, and if she came in here, it would constitute stalking. And so that is exactly what she has done. Now, I'm going to show you what Punisher for Truth wrote on here. And if you folks remember who watched my stream last night, I got an error. What I'm trying to do is bring this thing in here. Ugh. Sometimes this thing can be so infuriating. But I find it interesting that Punisher for Truth got around my ban. When she was told explicitly that she is not allowed in here. And of course, she is supporting a, gloves off. Well, the gloves off at this end too, Punisher. I don't take threats. And I don't like people that threaten to tell me that I'm not going to be able to work anymore. I've already had this from HOLMSETH and his supporters, and you're right in there with them. You basically lied to me last night, which I kind of figured would happen. You are one of these people that is just not capable of telling the truth. So you are a perfect example of the kind of people that Tim HOLMSETH draws into his fold. People that say gloves off. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this in here, trying to do multitask. And of course, and which one this? Okay, this is the stream. This is what Punisher put up. And while you digest that, I'm going to bring up the second one. So you can just read through that. This is the kind of person that Punisher for Truth is. Yeah, she says, "Oh, I'm smearing Tim HOLMSETH, and I haven't even done the show yet." Apparently she didn't like my. Nobody's going to be going to Gitmo, Punisher, and I'm gonna go ahead and save this so that this can be given to the proper authorities. You apparently don't know the law, and you're about to learn a harsh lesson. So, you were banned from here. You are hereby banned from here. Don't try making your phone calls because I'm not allowing calls from anybody that doesn't private message me first. Okay, screenshot is saved. So I get out of there and we ban Punisher again. Now, you are banned from the room. Don't come back. I don't know how she got around the last one. But anyway, this is the flood of comments that I got from her an hour before the show even started. And then, and it's the usual stuff. Now, let's see. Let me see if the next one comes up. Yeah. Okay. And then this is the one that is typical of these individuals. She basically, that's not what I wanted. All right, let me go back and get that. Here's that. But, she's going to dedicate her life to my work. I would have chose God. Well, you probably should have, Punisher, because you are not acting like someone that is God's follower. Darn it. Ugh, did it again. I don't know why that keeps. I'm gonna have to work on that. I knocked my lights off. So, uh, but this is the kind of people that follow Tim Holmeseth. Um, they make threats of violence. They're anti-Semitic. They make they're anti-Jewish. And when you read the comments on his videos over there, you understand that. Um, what brought her over here is she is a propagandist for Tim Holmeseth, and she's come in here. Um, Even though she's prohibited, when I open my lines up, she comes in here under false pretenses and defames and stalks people that are in this room. Um, and so, this is what I have to deal with. Now that I got that out of the way, we'll get into more of that later. Let me get into what um, the introduction is all about. Now I gotta get back on track here. Now, okay, because of that little thing, I've got some more material I have to download. I thought I had it in here, but I don't. So I've got to go back over to the other computer because I got to transfer this stuff. Okay. While I'm doing that, you guys can sit there and, kind of chat for a minute. But Tim Holmeseth makes his living excuse me. Marley, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I am not paying attention to what my audience wants. I have people like Punisher for Truth coming in here disrupting the channel. They've gone after people that are my moderators and chased some of them off. And it is the holiday season. People have better things to do than come into this small channel. I'm probably going to be stuck being a small channel because I just can't seem to get any traction. I have to deal with idiots like this. And, it's unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. And it's hopefully there's somebody else out there who can carry the message. But, um, I do have friends in here, and the numbers, it would be nice to have more numbers, but if I can't get them, I just work with the numbers I got because these are the true friends that have hung through the worst of everything that's gone on. It's gonna take me a few minutes to get this over. I get interrupted by this terrorist. Fireman John, I am finally glad to hear from you. I was wondering what you've been up to. And Happy New Year's to you, John. Hope things are going well. Let's see. Get the last thing up here. All right, well, that's short enough. Okay, now I got to bring these in here. Yeah, it's, Timothy Holmseth has been attacking me on and off for almost a decade. Uh, and the reason being is I am on friendly terms with an attorney by the name of Kim Bacasio. And Kim Bacasio is the target of um, Tim Holmseth. He lies about her constantly. He stalked her. It got so bad that she had to get a restraining order in an attempt to stop him from stalking her. It didn't work. He got arrested 4 times because of it. And during the second charge that he was supposed to go on trial for, he ran away. And so now he has a warrant out for his arrest. Uh, as long as he stays out of the state of Minnesota, he's not going to get caught. So that's where we're at. Well, that's fine, John. Everybody's got their own life to live. I am glad to see you in here. Uh, and you see that I have yet another individual that wants to see that I never get a job again. What? Apparently she misjudged what I was going to be talking about tonight, but I'm almost done. Okay. Yeah, I got to bring 2 more slides in here. Now, to review a little bit, Tim Holmseth not only has it in for me, but he has it in for, let's see. Yeah, I didn't bring that one in. Let me get that before I get started here. Okay, where'd it go? Huh. I thought I brought that in. Maybe I didn't. Well, I got one more thing to bring in here. Let me go back over to chat so I'm not missing. Cancel that. Sloppy as usual here. Well, Fletcher, what Holmseth has against Kim Bacasio is back about 12 years ago, we had a missing child by the name of Haley Cummings. And Mrs. Bacasio was representing the biological mother of Haley Cummings, who disappeared while living in a mobile home with her biological father and a 16-year-old, for lack of a better word, babysitter. And while the husband was at work, she vanished. And this happened in Northeast Florida. Um, okay, there's that. And somehow, Jimmy decided he wanted to get interested in the case, and he contacted Mrs. Bacasio and said that he could tell that the young lady who was alone with Haley when she disappeared was lying. And of course, we all knew she was lying anyway, but that's beside the point. What happened was that Mrs. Bacasio said thanks, but no thanks. She didn't really want Tim to contact her. Now, she didn't say Tim could investigate the case. He was free to do that. She just doesn't want to be directly involved with him. And Tim Holmseth did not like that. So Tim Holmseth started stalking Mrs. Bacasio. She was getting all kinds of weird emails. She was getting phone calls. She had a child in the hospital, and HOLMSETH even tried to call the child at the hospital. And he was obsessed with Mrs. Picasso. And finally, Mrs. Picasso, who is an attorney, was forced to seek regress, and she filed restraining order against HOLMSETH to leave her alone. That's all she did. She just wanted to be left alone. She didn't want Tim HOLMSETH to talk about her anymore. Well, this infuriated HOLMSETH. He wrote a book full of lies. And since 12 years ago, has been falsely accusing Mrs. Picasso just about every crime against children that you can think of, even to the point where she accused her, or where he accused her of eating babies and trafficking in them, doing satanic rituals and all kinds of stuff. And of course, this thing about Gitmo constantly comes up. So, Tim HOLMSETH got a summons to appear in court. And on the day he was supposed to appear in court, he disappeared, vanished, ran away. And this is a year and a half, 2 years ago. And he's been on the run ever since. Now, all there is against Mr. HOLMSETH is what they call a misdemeanor warrant. And so, as long as he stays out of the state of Minnesota, he's home free. And that's been the case. Now, he recently made a post over on his BitChute channel that he is in Texas, or was. And of all places, he was over at the Grassy Knoll. Now, there's been a bunch of people down there waiting for JFK Jr. to be reincarnated and show up in Dealey Plaza, or even JFK Sr. But the big thing seems to be JFK Jr. showing up. I don't know if these people are still hanging around down there, but they must be, because HOLMSETH claims to have gotten a autograph by somebody else that's written one of these books. So that's the summary there. Well, Randy ignores restraining orders. They don't believe in the Constitution. They don't believe in the law. And so they're going to ignore it. Now, get back over into bringing up my stuff again here. Let's see. Did I bring that in? And okay, okay. Tim HOLMSETH has had a running battle with Craig Sawyer. Craig Sawyer is someone who claims to be rescuing children. He's against Hillary and all this stuff. But he is respected by both General Flynn and Lynn Wood. Now, Timothy has taken an attachment to attorney Lynn Wood. And Lynn Wood, of course, is having a little spat with General Flynn. So this has led to a lot of bizarre behaviors. But this particular comment here was made in May of this year, and Craig Sawyer pretty well said what his stand was on this. And something curious happened. Tim HOLMSETH on his blog, and I don't know if I brought the blog in here, probably not. But what happened was Tim HOLMSETH said that there was somebody putting out false information about him, false documents, fake documents, and so on and so forth. And the source of this smear campaign, as Tim HOLMSETH, is the guy that runs this website. And he has a number of social media sites, and he has one over here. And this is, I believe, I think this is his Gab account, but he has Gab and he also has Telegraph. Now, he put up, see, let me see if this is it. No, that's something else. I'll get into that in a little bit. But he put up this collage, and in the comment section, he put up a whole bunch of stuff. He put up the well-known criminal record that Tim HOLMSETH has, and Tim HOLMSETH has denied that he was convicted of a felony, even though it is right here. That he was charged with felony theft, and he was charged with felony trespassing, and all that. And so, let me see. But he also had in his collection, he had the arrest warrant that was issued by the state of Minnesota for Tim HOLMSETH. And he put up this. And this is what's got Tim HOLMSETH all upset, is that this popped up somewhere on the internet. Now, I'm a little bit familiar with this because I think this has been out there before. But he screamed bloody murder about this. And I don't know the guy that put all this stuff up. I never heard of him. It took me a while to track down who this guy was and even track down which social media account had the material on it. But basically what's going on here is that some guy who is apparently a supporter of General Flynn, I don't know if he's a supporter of Lynn Wood, got a hold of all this material, which is out there, and put it up on the internet. Now, to him, Tim HOLMSETH, I say, welcome to my world, because Tim HOLMSETH has been doing the exact same thing to me. He has put material up on the internet, claiming this proves that I am a serial killer, stalker, child trafficker, spokesman for pedophile rings, and all this other stuff. And I've told him, no, it's not true. And he refuses to investigate it. He does not know who it is that put this material out there, which if he would check with the authorities, he'd find out who it was, because the person that caused a lot of troubles for me back then is in jail, or at least was. But this does not seem to sit with Mr. HOLMSETH. And so he puts this stuff out there. Now, there is a video that Glow put up that is from this man's website, because this is, let's see, let me see if I can get this on something else here, because getting stuff transferred over here, I was woefully unprepared for this, because in my usual weekend, I had a lot of stuff I had to do. So we zip this over here like this. And hopefully I got this set up correctly so I can do this. But Jordan Sather is the name of the individual who did all this. And so let's save an image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Timmy's image over into the thing so you can see what Timmy's whining about. But he put this up. Now, Jordan Sather is the one responsible for everything that is out there. And of course, Timmy claims that it's the CIA working against him. This is the guy that says that the CIA, or Mike Pence is trying to kill him or did try to kill him. And then it was Melania Trump that saved his life. She intervened, so he says, even though there's no proof of that. So we had that. And so I made a teaser video today saying that I was going to be discussing this tonight, and apparently that's what got Punisher for Truth all upset. So she blew her stack without even knowing what I was even going to be talking about, because he has been accused by Mr. Sather of these offenses. And so if he wants to deal with anyone, he can deal with Mr. Sather. Now, excuse me, I'm getting Cat Information Agency. What the hell is that, John? There's, I got sidetracked. There's something I'm trying to find here. Oh, I've been, well, this is another one of these. This is how dangerous HOLMSETH people are. So it looks like I got to call the sheriff's office tomorrow. And I've also got to call up north to advise them of this. So this is one of Timmy's close followers. And this woman, what is funny is this individual called a military base and complained that she is being stalked. And yet, look at what she is writing on the social media sites. This is the kind of people that Tim attracts. They believe in violence. They, so it's, if someday I'm not on the air, you'll know why. It'll be because this Punisher for Truth person has gotten some whack job to go after me. And I got to put my glasses, or I got to look at this as close as I can get. Because, this is somebody put up the screenshot of my chat, which I had screenshotted, and this is what you saw before. And then she added this to the screen chat, even though she was banned. But this is from a person that claims she's being stalked. So, who are we going to believe here? But this is a Canadian citizen. And, if anybody knows who this is, you can call the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in Toronto, Canada, and let them know that she has sent this message to a citizen of the United States. And I will be forwarding this comment to the appropriate authorities. But what's funny about this woman getting riled up is I'm not the one that made the accusations against Tim HOLMSETH. It's this other guy. And so instead of going after this other guy and dealing with him, she decided to come after me. I've never heard of this guy. So I don't know why she's got her panties in a wad about what this guy did. And she brings up Deep State Dave, and I'm not responsible for what Deep State Dave puts on the social media. And as far as I'm concerned, Deep State Dave is Timothy Charles HOLMSETH. He's made the sock account so that he can make threats to himself in order to get attention that he so desperately needs. The guy is an addict for attention. He wants to be famous, he wants to be a hero, and so he makes this stuff up out of thin air to get people to feel sorry for him. This is how he operates. And that's where we're at. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I got sidetracked because somebody sent me that. Let me go back there. Let me do it this way. Oh, thank you, Levi. Very much appreciated. I finally got that turned back on again. Levi, I don't know. What Cobra's up to. I would imagine that, he might, because, there is a reward out for him to get arrested. And, he is a bounty hunter. So, the only thing is he has to make sure to get him in the state of Minnesota. But, they sit there and attack me because a complete stranger put up these accusations about Tim HOLMSETH. I wasn't responsible for this. They go after Jordan Sather or whatever the hell his name is. He's the guy that's doing all this. I've had no contact with this guy. I had never heard of this guy until this stuff showed up. Yeah, I know Tina Church has wants a piece of them too because she's ruined her, or he's ruined her. Well, he might be a she for all we know, but he's pissed off a lot of people. There's cops that don't like him, and ordinary people that don't like him. And for whatever reason, he's got a burr up his ass for me. But what's interesting, Tim HOLMSETH brags about infiltrating Epstein and responsible for Epstein, but he has not said one single word about Ghislaine Maxwell. Hasn't discussed her, hasn't taken credit for her being convicted of the charges that are against her. Nothing. He's completely silent about her. And so I'm beginning to wonder, Well, Charlie, that's probably right. I don't trust any of these people, but I have nothing to do with them. I just, it's information that's out there. Somebody made an accusation and it parallels the kind of information that HOLMSETH has made against me. And Tim HOLMSETH, whether he likes it or not, is a public figure. So anything he says is newsworthy. And so I'm reporting what is on the internet. If this is defamation and libel and slander and all this other stuff, then he and his former municipal judge can sue Mr. Sather. You know, that's what you do. They can afford to do it because they're raking in all this money selling all these coffee mugs. So, anyway, but now I got to put up with crap like this because somebody else criticized Tim HOLMSETH and she wants to come after me when all I'm doing is reporting what the guy said. And this is the same woman that I spent an hour with that I had intended to log off and explain to her my position. And she apparently misrepresented herself. And so, this is where we're at here. These people just they lie. That's the best way of, defining it. They are complete and absolute liars. I wonder why that's not. Okay, let me go back up here and go down here. I'm gonna try and see if I can do this. Normally, you're supposed to do this on. Normally, I should be doing this on. Well, what happens is, Glow, is that people, Tim HOLMSETH and people like him get involved in these cases and they literally barge into them and they think they're gonna get famous, and which of course they're gonna get famous for the wrong reasons, but they think they're gonna solve the case and all this nonsense. So, oh, I already did that. Okay. Okay, I guess I gotta do it this way. All that figures. Yeah, I'm trying to do something on. I'm trying to do something on Firefox, and it's got to be done on. So let me. See if this is going to work. Whoa. All right, let me back that up. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and share a video. And this one was put up on YouTube. Hate it when it does that. This one was put up on YouTube, so. So let's see. Let's see if this is going to work. Share. Chrome tab. And okay, let's see what I gotta. All right, for some reason I'm not finding this thing. Well, she's a threat because she's threatening my personal safety. Well, let me open another tab and see if I can do it this way. This is okay. Okay. Okay, I think I've got this set up. Let's see if this is going to work. Now, I've been able to do this before. Okay, I've got to close this out. And I got to bring this back. And, okay, well, let me see if the audio is going to work on this puppy.
The trial/hearing for Timothy HOLMSETH in Polk County District Court on this Monday morning, surrounded by heavy security, turned out to be much ado about nothing. Several dozen supporters who claim the system is corrupt were on hand, but the man of the hour, Timothy HOLMSETH, didn't show up.
So what happened in court today?
Mr. Rasmussen called the case, and Mr. HOLMSETH didn't show up today, so she just issued a bodily attachment warrant to bring him forth for trial.
Okay, so they issued an arrest warrant.
Yep.
Is he hiding, or?
I have no idea.
Okay. All right. So for now, it's on hold until he's brought into custody.
Right.
For more background on this story, check our earlier stories on this Monday. I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNews.tv.
Hello, everyone. You know who this is, yet you have absolutely no idea. Of course. We're going to start with Kirk Pendergrass and Chris Hallett, and then we're going to move on to Timothy HOLMSETH. I'm saving HOLMSETH for last because he seems to have gone off the deep end. Let's get started.
901.02, the Florida, under arrest. A judge, upon examination of the complaint and proof submitted, if satisfied that probable cause exists for the issuance of an arrest warrant for any crime committed within the judge's jurisdiction, shall thereupon issue an arrest warrant signed by the judge with the judge's name and office. Number 2, the court may issue a warrant for the defendant's arrest when all of the following circumstances apply. All of them. Okay? This is what's right here on the warrant to arrest. A complaint has been filed charging the commission of a misdemeanor only. Pursuant to your own statute, you can't do a warrant for felonies.
So, Mr. Pendergrass believes that arrest warrants are not issued for felony offenses. I was a bit beside myself when I heard Mr. Pendergrass say that because, well, he's a felon, and an arrest warrant was issued and executed against him.
B, the summons issued to the defendant has been returned unserved. Where's the summons?
The summons was included with the original temporary injunction that Mr. McConnell ignored. He was issued a summons to appear in court, and he chose not to do so, in a sense waiving his right to due process. We'll get into that later.
I think we take some serious exception to fraud. And this would be fraud upon the court.
A fraud upon the court. Would I be out of line in stating that I believe Mr. Pendergrass is a fraud upon humanity?
Article 1, Section 21.
Mm-hmm.
Subsection 2. In any court of this state, any suitor may prosecute or defend his suit either in his own proper person or by an attorney of the suitor's choice.
Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh. And then this is what I love about this particular annotated constitution. A non-lawyer may not sign and file a notice of appeal on behalf of the corporation. Well, that's a clear indicator that you can if it's not on behalf of the corporation, right? Okay.
That would be because a corporation is not a natural person, hence they cannot go pro per or pro se. In a sense, if a corporation is being defended in court, it has to be defended by an attorney because the corporation is not a person. If you're going to claim to be a legal expert, you should probably know that.
Requiring a lawyer to represent a corporation in filing the notice does not violate the guarantee that any suitor may prosecute or defend a suit personally. A corporation is not a what? It's not a natural person. It does not fall within the term any suitor. Uh-oh, would that mean the state of Florida can't bring suit? Because you're not a natural person. Uh-oh.
The state of Florida has not filed suit against anyone, Mr. Pendergrass. The state of Florida has issued criminal charges. This is where we get into the difference between criminal law and tort law. Again, if you're going to claim to be a legal expert, you should probably know this. The state of Florida is not suing Field McConnell. The state of Florida has charged Field McConnell with 3 felonies. Those are crimes, not torts, Mr. Pendergrass.
And here's one of the problems. The actors who constructed this monstrosity, which we now know to be Sharia law, and I'm just going to say it, and I really don't care who likes that.
And they implement their Sharia law.
I had a feeling I would need to revisit the Sharia law concept at some point, and I'll spare the audience reading the definition because it's kind of redundant and unnecessary. It is worth noting that this definition does come from the Library of Congress. And it's important to note that Mr. Pendergrass and Mr. Howlett apparently believe that Sharia law is taking over the courts in the United States. So I would like to take this opportunity to ask them when the last time they saw someone stoned to death? When was the last time they saw someone crucified? When was the last time they saw a woman executed for cheating on her husband? When was the last time you heard the word Allah or Muhammad mentioned in an open court of law in the United States? And when was the last public beheading? Because these things happen all the time under Sharia law, and I simply haven't witnessed them. Am I missing something?
And for example, with the whole Kim Picasio thing, how the hell can she have a family law form when divorce is prohibited law in the state of Florida? Because it's listed right there as prohibited law, prohibited special law.
And it's worth mentioning that Christopher Hallett believes that divorce is illegal in the state of Florida.
So how can she be practicing something that is prohibited? That would be an unauthorized practice of law, according to 454.23 Florida statute.
Let's take a look at 454.23. Any person not licensed or otherwise authorized to practice law in this state, who practices law in this state, or who holds himself or herself out to the public as qualified to practice law in the state, or who willfully pretends to be, or willfully takes or uses any name, title, addition, or description implying that he or she is qualified or recognized by law as qualified to practice law in a state commits a felony in the third degree. 454.23 is addressed toward people like you, Mr. Howlett, to people like you, Mr. Pendergrass, to people who would practice law without being legally licensed to practice law. You've both been to prison, so the only question I have for you is, are you looking to go back?
It's due process of law. So if there's going to be any fraud upon the court, if there's going to be perjury or subordination of perjury or any of that other crap, I'm going to tell you right now, the judge sitting in the position that the judge is sitting in, okay, has nobody there. Let's use Field's case, for example, has nobody standing there to rebut the argument. Because there's nobody there to rebut the argument, Field was defenseless in Florida.
Field McConnell was given the opportunity to defend himself in court, and he chose not to appear. This is where we're going to get into due process and the fact that Mr. McConnell waived his right to due process. When the temporary injunction was filed against Mr. McConnell and he was served, he was given a court date, and he chose to ignore it. He did not have to go to Broward County to appear in court. He could have set up video conference right there in Wisconsin. When Mr. McConnell failed to appear in court, he essentially chose not to contest the order, not to oppose it. So the court granted a permanent injunction, a permanent restraining order. Mr. McConnell became subject to that, and he was served a second time. And the purpose of this was to inform him that the order was in fact permanent and that he was legally bound by it. That same day, Mr. McConnell uploaded a live stream where he violated the order 9 times. Mr. McConnell is right where he belongs. Let's move on to Mr. HOLMSETH.
It's because this is why they're saying it's going to be biblical, and they can't just come right out and tell you everything that they found in those underground bases with the 2,100 children, because it's so freaking crazy that it's biblical. But I'm going to tell you what they're doing. One of the things they're doing is they're mixing genetics. They're mixing human genes with animal genes. And they did all this crap way back in the Bible. That's why
I'm going to have to stop you there, Mr. HOLMSETH, because just a few weeks ago, you were saying this.
he led the operation. He was in the tunnels. He saw everything. Yes, 2,100 children. I'm not going to go into the details of what it looked like, basically hell on earth. One comment made by the commander was something to do with like the movie It. I think it had with clowns and. Timothy Charles HOLMSETH with the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, and I'm coming on to talk to you a little bit, and I hope my internet connection hangs in there. And yeah, I'm using Wi-Fi because I'm on the road. I travel and I stop to do this, and that's OPSEC.
Which, by the way, I on my personal page, I shared it out. I spoke to the Pentagon, and they confirmed there is no such thing as a Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. This is something that Timothy Charles HOLMSETH has claimed. This is something that David Straight has claimed, Kurt Pendergrass, Chris Howlett, a whole group of people that use this. Field McConnell, they use this fucking claim for donations. I don't know how much more clear you can get than the Pentagon told me this does not exist. And they've never had any kind of official confirm it because they all claim that government officials can't confirm it exists because it's so top secret, but that makes no sense because they are so the president isn't allowed to acknowledge this group, but you're able to talk about it on Facebook and YouTube when asking for donations. Like, how the fuck does that work? So, no, I mean, the Pentagon, and you know what? There we go. You can attribute the following to me as a Department of Defense spokesman. I actually contacted their media department originally, and they pushed me up the ladder. They didn't even want to deal with it, and instead they directed me to Lieutenant Colonel Uriah L. Orland. There is not a Pentagon pedophile task force. The only child rescue service that we are aware of is the Human Exploitation Rescue Operative HERO Child Rescue Course, which is a program developed by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's Homeland Security Investigations and Department of Defense's Special Operations Command in conjunction with the National Association to Protect Children. So like a whole group of them, a whole group that people have been donating to, if they told you they have anything to do with the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, they are literally lying to you.
Yep.
This is straight up from the fucking Pentagon. That was an official media statement for me to release in that article that I did yesterday. So you literally cannot get any more fucking clear than that.
Well, I have a question right now, and I'm putting this out to the audience because I really need help getting the answer to this question. Is there in fact now, or has there ever been, a presidential pedophile task force? As of today, I'm thinking the answer is no.
Over here. Sometimes you actually have to work with the devil to know where the devil's hiding out.
All right, I wanted to cover this real fast too. This was on Mert's Witness One Live, his blog that he has. There's been a couple of people have sent him newspaper clippings, and it's about Timmy when he was like in his 20s and what happened. And he received another article about him. So we're just going to read this real fast. And this happened at East Grand Forks. A man is behind bars after it was learned that he was sexually soliciting a minor child. During the evening hours of March the 20th, officers were called to the 1500 building of Hollybrook Apartments for a possible sexual harassment complaint. Further investigation revealed that a 13-year-old female had been receiving inappropriate messages from a 29-year-old male, identified as Timothy Charles HOLMSETH. Officer found several messages from HOLMSETH attempting to solicit sexual acts from the juvenile victim. Are you kidding me? HOLMSETH was located later that night, hiding behind bushes with a bag full of women and girls' undergarments. When asked about where they came from, he stated, "I like panties and to dress and drag." Oh my God. He is being held and was charged with sexual solicitation of a child under the age of 18, endangering the welfare of a child. This is bad. This is bad.
All right.
On this Wednesday night, the consequences of a COVID explosion.
All right. A breaking point. Okay, we get that out of the way. And I wonder if I've got audio. All right, need an audio check here. Let me go to my trusty thing, audio. Yeah, we have audio. Good deal. All right, I think I'm finally beginning to get the hang of this software. So, folks, that's what I close with, is that video was used by the guy that accused HOLMSETH of these actions. And he is the source. Mr. Sather is the source of this information, not me. Now, HOLMSETH gets all upset that somebody would publish something like that when he has done the exact same thing to me. And most of you that are in here know what I've had to go through for the last decade with people that he has garnered this information from. There's a woman who provided some of the material to HOLMSETH who confessed to 4 counts of lewd acts against children because one of the things she did, she had sex with her then husband on a kitchen table while the 2 minor children watched, and then one of the children photographed her sexual organs at the behest of the husband. The husband went to prison for it. He died in prison. She confessed to 4 charges, was put on probation. And the strange thing is, this has happened before the sexual predator law. So she is running around a neighboring county as an unregistered sex offender. And she showed up at searches for Kelly Anthony. It is said that she walked into the police department at Putnam County. She was a moderator at Web Sleuths, and when the owner of Web Sleuths found out about it, she was promptly kicked out of Web Sleuths. But these are the kind of people that Timothy joins up with. And, there's people that he has supported that have been accused of being a pedophile, and he has not withdrawn his support. He totally ignores them. As long as you are in good with HOLMSETH and you are a pedophile, you have nothing to worry about. He will not out you. And, that's it. Now, again, like I said earlier, if Tim HOLMSETH declares that this is a false statement that Mr. Sather is providing, then he needs to go after Mr. Sather. But at the same time, he needs to realize that he is doing the same thing to me. Tim HOLMSETH has actually inferred that I am a person of interest in the Delphi murders of the 2 children, even though there is a video that came out on the 29th of December that went thoroughly through that case and demonstrated that I possibly could not have anything to do with that case. Now, Tim HOLMSETH has had some bad luck here the last week. Now, he was supposed to go on a show called Reba Live and be interviewed about pedophiles and so on and so forth. And Reba Live is a woman that says she has been following Timothy Charles HOLMSETH since the days of Field McConnell. And she was supposed to interview him about his work, as it was, discussing fraud, corruption, child trafficking, and all that. And then Timmy came up with this. Now, he claimed that there was someone named Deep State Dave that said if he did the interview that he was going to get arrested. Now, there's a problem with this. Reba does not do personal interviews. She does her interviews over the telephone or other means. She does an audio podcast. As far as I know, she has not done on screen video interviews where the guest appears on camera. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this is what I was told by people who know her. And so, anyway, he used Deep State Dave as an excuse to get out of this. Now, it's in one thing that gives away why he actually canceled the program, and it had nothing to do with death threats. It's in the very first paragraph. And it reads as follows. I am advised that in October of 2020, you met and or interviewed certain people. There is a connection to General Flynn. There is a great deal of information. That is the reason he canceled the interview. The person she interviewed was Craig Sawyer. And Tim Holmseth has had a burr up his ass over Craig Sawyer for years. He's accused Craig Sawyer of the very same thing that he accused Deep State Dave of. You know, and of course, since Deep State Dave is Timothy Charles Holmseth, the rest is history. And then he goes on and he says he's a witness for the FBI, even though he is against the FBI. And so there's that. Now, if I've got it on here, now the woman was pissed. She had gone through a lot of trouble to do this interview, and I'm going to see if I can find her statement. I took it off of here because I didn't know if what I was going to be discussing her, so now I got to find her again. Oh, boy. Okay, I downloads, let's see. Okay, here's I'm bringing in Reba's comment. I took this out. I really shouldn't have. But I'm going to finish with this because the last line in this statement is a classic. It takes forever to upload this into the system. I don't know why, but I'm getting the circle of death right now. But Reba is a fairly well-known influence, I guess you could call her. And so it was not a terribly smart thing for him to get on her bad side. Yeah, let me try it again. This thing is... For some reason, this is not loading. Try this once again. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, this, again, I'm going to have to read this. I don't know how well you guys can see the print. Those of you who are viewing this on mobile phones may have a problem. But anyway, this is her response to Timmy's cancellation. This makes absolutely no sense. I informed Timothy myself last night via email that I interviewed Craig Sawyer at AMPF EST in October of 2020 at Trump's Doral in Miami. Now, Donald Trump is also a supporter of General Flynn. I think Timmy forgot that. I have never spoken to Mike Flynn nor Patrick Byrne. The topic of the interview was child sex trafficking. As a journalist, I interview people. I have zero to hide. I have integrity. I expose fraud and corruption. I have no fear. I said this to Timothy via email last night. I have ovaries of steel, but apparently some lack the balls to speak with. Now, that is a horrific burn that she made at Timmy. And, Timothy has no balls because he has no balls to defend himself in court. He has no balls, period. And this lady called him out. And what's interesting, if you go over to his blog and his BitChute channel, he's moved on. Other than this, let's see, now the Sather thing is staying there, but let me see if I can bring up, trying to see if I can bring up, oops, where'd it go? But, But one thing, if you go over to the blog, you will know that they have taken down all the links to Timothy's Telegram, Timothy's Gab, Timothy's own BitChute channel, and the High Command BitChute channel. It's all gone. In its place is a place to sell mugs and t-shirts and a realignment of some of the priors. And on January 1st, the only thing he's got on there is he's talking about Jordan Sather. He claims to have gotten a autograph or an author and redacted part of the book. I don't understand that. Time to Choose, Washington's a Ghost Town. But once he said that he was not going to appear on the woman's show, this was back on the 29th, he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 videos not discussing the attempts that he claims has been made to arrest him or any of this. He's completely moved on from the subject. Now, you would think if something that important was going on with Mr. HOLMSETH, he would be talking about it on a daily basis. Now, what's going to happen, and it's almost a guarantee, is because now that I'm talking about this, there's going to be yet another defamatory video about me put up. It's something he always does. But, it's old hat, and people have, every time he does that, they say, we've seen this before, blah, 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 But, this is the only thing this guy is capable of. He does not talk about rescuing children. He talks about being a professional victim, about getting books signed, about taking pictures of himself in front of buildings, which he did. There's a picture of him in front of the Texas Book Depository building near the grassy knoll. He actually went to the grassy knoll, and somebody had to have taken a picture of him, so guess who? But here it is, December 29th. This is right after Christmas. Not a mention of his family, not a mention of God, not a mention of the birth of Christ. It's all about him. And matter of fact, 27, 26, he's talking about Alex Jones and Michael Flynn the day after Christmas. On Christmas Day, he's talking about Rittenhouse, actually. talks about Michael Flynn. Christmas Eve, he goes after me because I criticize General Flynn and once again implicates me in the Delphi murders. This is a double murder that he's implied me into. Now, I am almost expecting that this nitwit from Canada is going to call up Delphi and say that I am a person of interest in that. And they're not going to be happy with her because they are getting sick and tired of people doing that, calling up their police department and reporting people that have absolutely nothing to do with the case. They pretty well know who their person of interest is. Because there is a video that came out on the 29th that went into explicit detail of what the Delphi Police Department is doing. And it's in there that there is developing leads in that case. They even so much as said that the person they think is the person of interest might even be in the room during the press conference, which, the reporters there probably were going, oh. But the thing of it is they're not after anyone outside the city of Delphi, Indiana. At least right now. But here we are, Christmas Eve, of all things, defaming me over this double murder in Indiana. And Tim Holmseth knows full well I wasn't there. He has proof on his own social media account. All he's got to do is go back and look, and he'll find it. But Tim Holmseth does not care about the truth. That's what people need to understand who may wander in here from his side. He does not tell the truth. He never has. He never will. And, as long as people give him positive reinforcement, he's going to continue. Nothing will stop this man. You arrest him, he won't show up for trial unless you lock him up and revoke bail, which will probably happen since he skipped court. He's a flight risk, so if he ever does get arrested, he ain't going to get out of jail. So that's where we stand tonight. Now, it is likely that I will not be on tomorrow unless there is a development of any kind. This being New Year's weekend, everything is closed. There hasn't been any movement. I'm going to be checking the databases Monday. It looks like I may have to have another interview with my friends up in the north regarding tonight's nonsense, so I'll see how that goes. Because I was told if there's any problems to give them a call, so I'm going to be giving them a call. And let's see. Well, Mary, from what I gathered talking to law enforcement, Kirk was not in Florida. He was still up where he lived. There was Chris Hallett, his girlfriend, and her daughter were there when Neely Blanchard showed up. When Neely shot Chris Hallett, the gun jammed after several attempts. She had actually pointed the gun at the mother and daughter and was intending to shoot them. And when the gun jammed, she had to try and fix it, and that gave the mother and the daughter the opportunity to get the hell out of there. Neely repaired the gun and finished Pendergrass off, shooting him in the back and unloading the gun of all the bullets in it. She then went to Georgia, where she was caught and was extradited back to Florida. She now awaits trial in Ocala, Florida. The trial is going to begin January 14th and is supposed to last until Friday, or the 24th, excuse me, and last until the 28th. I will be in Castle Rock, Colorado, covering the Cynthia Absug case because I have made prior travel arrangements and so forth. So unless one of these trials is delayed, I will be covering the Absug trial, and I will be in contact. I'm going to talk to the court to see if there's a way I can get daily updates on the progress of the trial and report that in a live stream that I would do following the Absug trial that evening. I'll be staying in a hotel that's about a mile from the courthouse. And so we'll see how that goes. Well, I am surprised, Mary, if he was there, because this would be new information that the Marion County Sheriff, if they haven't, hasn't said. They have come out with a witness list, and Kirk Pendergrass is not on the witness list. Now, let's see, just for the heck of it, I am going to go and I'm going to check and see if there's anything there. Yeah. I don't know why this. Okay, here we go. Okay. Because I don't know if you heard, but the strangest piece of evidence that came up in the Blanchard discovery files is a spy pen that the woman that she knew from Kentucky used when she called her. That's being entered into evidence for discovery by the prosecution. Okay, what happened? All right, let me try it again. This thing is. There we go. So I have the biggest problem with this search engine for the court. Okay, now the last item for supplemental discovery in the Blanchard case is Kathy Watson's spy pen call with Petrie Blanchard. Now, I don't recall ever seeing discovery that would include a spy pen, and they even worded it as such. It's basically just a audio recording chip inside of a pen. And I have I have a multimedia of one of those things. And let's see, court events. Nah, let me get down through here because Okay, now jury selection. I see they. I'm trying to. Okay, the 24th of January is jury selection. And this is the exact, they're doing the exact same thing with the ADSUG trial. And there's supposed to be, I don't know if they've got it on here. All right, this is coming up Monday. There is a private pretrial conference on the 6th of January. And let's see, Monday is a Pro C pretrial conference, which means she's representing herself. This is the first time I've seen this. So the January events is the 3rd of January, the 6th of January, and then the 24th of January. So the important one is going to be on the 6th of January, and this is a private conference. And so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any information about that. I'm going to call the courthouse Monday and ask them what the situation is with this trial. And all right, let me see. Let me see what I can do here, because I have talked about this before. Oops, excuse me. What I can do is this. Let's see if for some reason this is going to be for some reason I can't get the my screen capture utility to capture this page. So I'm going to try doing something here. Put it in the document writer. Oh. All right, let's see if it'll let me do it now. Nope, it jumps back. This darn thing will not allow me to do a PDF. That's strange. Well then, this is something. Okay, this Adam Eve. Go back to Timothy HOLMSETH channel and stay there. You come over here to troll. That's the only reason you're over here. You're probably that other person with a different name. If you like Timmy, stay there. I don't understand why people come here that support that idiot. I really don't. Sheesh. And I'm going to block the user. So that takes care of that one. Adam and Eve can go to hell for all I care. They don't belong in here. I've told the supporters of that domestic terrorist to stay out of this room. Now, let me try something. I had intended on closing, but I'm going to be curious to see if I can get that document in here. Nope, that won't allow it. It came in as a... So let me... Yeah, this is not going to allow me to... I'm going to have to... The next time I do a examination for Blanchard, Tennessee Lights. Yeah, it's public information, and it's basically all it says is they're entering the spy pen into evidence. And so I just thought it was kind of quirky that they put it in there. There hasn't been anything since the 7th of December on the case. But with all that stuff coming up Monday, this is all pre-trial stuff that they put in, trying to get prepared for the case. And if there is any reason to continue the trial, we will know it then. Now, if any trial gets continued, it is more than likely going to be the ACCUSATIONS trial, because for some reason her trial was delayed from September. I went up there to cover that case, or that trial, in September, and it took an hour for them to decide that they're going to postpone the trial until January, because apparently there was a discussion between the defense and prosecuting attorneys over certain things that they had not provided the court. And that had to do with let's see, let me do this. This document I can get to. Now, this is the schedule I have so far. So let me see if this will come in. And this will be the last thing I do before I call it. And of course it didn't. Boy, I'm just having all kinds of fun tonight with this. Oh, there it is. And of course it's a HTML. I got to go back in there and redo it. Because I really hadn't planned on talking about ACCUSATIONS tonight. Let me go back down to that file, see if I can get that. Okay. And it's it's either 3 or 4. One child he gave up, and then he's got the son and the daughter, who are supposedly biological. Now, Tim Holmseth has never been married. All these children were born out of wedlock. He has this affinity about marriage. Fireman, thank you for coming in. Okay, now let me bring this in. This is the ABSUG docket as it stands right now. And we have, now there are 2 different hearings that are going to be going on. We have one that has to do with the child and the jury trial itself. And what you pay attention to is 1074 is the criminal case. This is at Division 4. And so we have our pre-trial readiness conference will be the 13th. And so that one should be where I know if I am going to be going to Colorado, because if it gets delayed, I will change the booking and for whenever they schedule. And so the virtual hearing is on the 13th. If everything is fine, then on the 24th, the very same day that jury selection begins in the Blanchard case, the trial for the ABSUG case begins. And it is supposed to go until the 27th of January. And then, if, the jury will be sent to deliberate in however long it takes for them to reach a verdict on that. Now, after that, strangely enough, on the 10th of February, there's going to be a pretrial conference and then a disposition hearing, and this is in the Division C, which I believe is family court. And since this has to directly do with the child, I do not believe I'd be able to cover that one. And so I would basically have to rely on whatever the court decides as far as providing information on that. The disposition hearing is supposed to be 3.5 hours on that. And what happens after the disposition, I don't know. Onions. I forgot the onions. Oh, yummy. That sounds good. Yeah, don't burn the roast. I love roast. But, so this is where we stand. But I depart for Colorado if everything is on track on the 23rd. And so I would be there the 24th. Probably would not be in the court because of its jury selection. I'm not going to be allowed to do anything with that. I can't give out information on the jurors. Now, I might be able to watch, and then I could give you the gender, possibly the occupations, and other information about prospective jurors, but I will not be able to reveal their names or anything like that. That's just, you don't do that. So what I would be doing at the same time, I would be calling Ocala to find out what the situation is with the Blanchard trial. I have media contacts in Ocala and in Tampa, and I am going to find out if the local stations are going to cover the trial and if the newspaper is going to cover the trial, because I can get information through those sources so that I have some idea what's going on down there. Well, that's an interesting piece of information, Mary, because if he was down there at any time around the time this happened, uh, you know, the sheriff probably knows about it because the Hallett's girlfriend and Hallett's son are cooperating with authorities. Now, there was a little bit of a thing, I believe, happened with Kirk that involved Hallett's son, and Kirk was told in no uncertain terms to use E-clause, that belonged to him through inheritance, and that Kirk or anybody else was not authorized to use it. So, I don't know what the situation is. Now, if Kirk Pendergrass was egging Neely on, then Neely should tell her defense attorney, because they might offer exculpatory evidence towards her that would save her from getting the death penalty. Because if someone was influencing her when she was in a certain state of mind, that's extenuating and exculpatory information to get her off the hook. Because she's going to go to prison for killing him. That's a given. But what hinges here is whether or not she gets the death penalty, because there's aggravating circumstances in this case. And what they do is when the judge instructs the jury, he says to look for aggravating circumstances and mitigating circumstances. And if somebody from the outside encouraged or egged her on to do something to Chris Hallett, that could be exculpatory evidence, and it could also get Kirk in trouble as being an accessory to the crime. And so he better hope that the defense doesn't go in that direction. Because if it turns out that Kirk Pendergrass somehow influenced her to commit this crime, and it could be proven, then Kirk Pendergrass may find himself in jail in Florida awaiting trial for accessory to murder. These people are not too bright. They're out there saying that this is some kind of a trick, that Neely Blanchard was a victim in her own right, that she was a straw man, that somebody else actually did it, that she had nothing to do with it, or, she's being set up and all this stuff. And, you really shouldn't be doing that, because this is a case that hasn't gone to trial yet. And, law enforcement is monitoring all these social media channels. They're monitoring my channel. I know that for a fact. And they're monitoring all these other channels that had anything to do with Neely Blanchard, which could be Kirk Pendergrass, Tim Holmseth, and so forth. So these people need to be walking on eggshells, because if they interfere with this case in any way, shape, or form, or lead law enforcement to believe that they had something to do with a case, they're going to get called in for interviews, and they may be called in as a witness. Mary, who are you talking about? Are you talking about Cynthia Absug by any chance? Because I'm lost as to who bailed out who. Yeah, you're probably right, Michael, because what's going on here is Marion County is being very tight with discovery. Normally, when I cover these cases, I can file the proper paperwork and I can get all the discovery evidence, and it's very difficult to do. I'm trying to get the recording of that spy pen. I'm also trying to get the body camera footage and the recordings that were made of Neely Blanchard at the time she was arrested in Valdosta, Georgia, and there's been a gag order put on all that material. I can't get my hands on it, and neither can any of the media. This is very, very unusual in Florida that this can happen. So there's something going on, because the exception to the rule in our sunshine law down here states that there has to be a compelling reason to withhold this information. And it could be that the investigation is not complete. So that's something that we're going to have to wait and see as to just exactly what's going on. And this is going to come out in the trial. And I have to find out who is going to cover this case and how, if the ABSUG trial is not delayed. Because, I'd be losing about a $500 airplane ticket if I stayed in Florida to cover this trial and not go up and cover the trial in Colorado. So, I've run into this before, so I'll just work through it. The only thing I can do is hope that one or two of these cases are going to get continued. And it would likely, if there's going to be a continuance, it's going to be the ABSUG trial, because it's just that for whatever reason, they seem to be having trouble getting this case going. And there's always a reason to delay. And so this is a fluid situation. Monday's going to be a hint, and so on and so forth. And when I call up to Colorado, I'm going to start figuring out what's going on up there with that one. Corrupt state conspiring to file a Rule 11 on Cynthia ABSUG. What is a Rule 11? Let me check this one out. I never heard of this one. Okay. Rule 11, signing pleadings, motions, and other papers, representations to the court, sanctions. I don't believe there's going to be a Rule 11 filed in that, because you're talking about frivolous arguments and stuff like that. I don't believe that's going to happen, because now when I was at the hearing and the subject came up that they were arguing about, so I don't know. Lori, what is this about? I'm totally confused. Cynthia ABSUG is not in jail at the moment. She's out. She's wearing a bracelet. She lives about 30 miles from the court. There's an interesting character, I believe, that's helping her out in the case. Don't know about financially, but she has quite the legal team. She's got about 4 people that work on the defense side. And so at this point, I'm in the dark when it comes to this case. And oh, okay, Laurie. Well, yeah, these sovereign citizens are a trip. I'll check into that. But in the meantime, I went a little bit over, but going to be curious to see what this Punisher's going to do. This is, yet another one of these HOLMSETH followers that make threats because I criticize HOLMSETH and I call him out on his lies, and then this idiot publisher, administrator, guardian, whatever the hell she is, says I should go get a job. Well, I can't, because you got people like this woman that call around and make it difficult for me to do anything. I am simply unable to make a decent living because of Tim HOLMSETH. Oh, our friend with the newspaper, Lion News, is emailing you again. Jeez, I don't understand that guy. He's weird. I think he's in love with Timmy. That's the only thing I can figure. I guess him and Tim ought to get together, have a snuggle fest or something. Jeez. Oh, Punisher. Well, let me put up her threats. She basically, this is what she said she's going to do. She's basically, I don't think you will be able to work by the time I'm done. Now, that is a direct threat to interfere with my right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In other words, I can't go out and get a job because she's probably going to start calling potential employers and say, do not hire me. And since she's made a false report to the military, she's probably going to start calling the cops. And maybe I'll get swatted someday. Who knows? But this is the kind of people that Tim HOLMSETH draws in. These people that make these kind of veiled threats. And, she says she's going to dedicate her life to my work. So this ought to be really interesting. And she claims to be a Christian. I would have chose God. Well, she's not following the teachings of God. But this is the kind of people that I have to deal with. And I've had to deal with these kind of people for over a decade. And it never stops. I'm 71 years old, so, there's no telling how long it's going to be before I'm pushing daisies and be 6 feet under. And with people like Punisher floating around, it might be sooner than later. Which is unfortunate, because I wanted to see the kind of pictures that Jack Webb streams in July. I may not be long enough to see that. I have that to worry about. So, but anyway, I might have to start before I leave. I guess I may have to start soliciting donations from anybody that can afford it, because I may have to put money away in case someone decides to shoot my ass. Or I may need it for legal expenses, the way things are going. So, what can I say? It's just any little bit helps, because it's going to cost me another $600 to run up to Colorado, for the hotel room up there and other stuff that I'm going to have to contend with. So, see how it goes. No, he did not leave YouTube willingly, from what I've heard. Well, I don't know. The thing of it is I don't know where anybody's going to go when they leave YouTube. Because this is about the only place you can do anything where you're going to draw any kind of an audience. There's very few. Everybody else charges money, and I'd have to start from scratch if I left. I'm thinking about expanding my social media base, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I guess that's going to be it for tonight. I really appreciate everybody coming in. 20 people were in here watching, so that's about average for tonight. I appreciate it. This is not the most polished show on YouTube. I got a long ways to go before this thing becomes anything of a quality show. And because of people like Punisher, it affects the channel in a way that I'm not able to get advertising and sponsors. So they're costing me that. I don't know what happened to TTH Seeker. I haven't checked to see what's going on with that channel. It's a small channel to begin with, and I really don't care. So I will keep you guys up to date on what happens next week as far as all the pretrial stuff with both the cases plus other cases that I'm looking into. There is one case which is interesting. It's another Munchausen's case that is going to go to trial in Colorado in the Denver area in February. Now, I will not be going up for that because I simply can't afford it, but I may be able to cover it remotely or at least discuss it. So that's another thing I'm going to be doing, is calling about that trial. And next Saturday, I may discuss that case along with some other cases that are working their way through the court system as we speak. And so please like, subscribe, hit the notification, and share. And let's see if we can figure out the right path for me to go with this channel. And so until we meet again, have a good one. Good night, all. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.